And here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be nominal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Doubling up. Roger, with planet.
Water towers fly! Yes!
Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside FD off. Bring in FD off. It's orange!
R45! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage. Put that in the big bag, Jingle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
The methane would be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You bet. We don't need any more of these.
Yikes, you bet concur. We do need more of these. It's a static fire day here for Booster 12, at least we hope. Welcome to another NSF live stream. I'm Jack Byer, your host. I see the 5x5s in chat, so I know I'm coming through loud and clear. Thank you all for that. Hi, chat. Are you excited for static fire today? Also, hi, Adrian. Are you excited for a static fire today?
No. Yes. I'm very happy for excited for Static Fire for today. Hopefully. Yeah, we see the good stuff here. We see the good stuff all around the booster. OLM vent is on. Everything looking quite nice so far. Look to be like SpaceX had some trouble getting this initial beginning of the countdown here, but now they are in full flow, and we will see hopefully a staged combustion. There we go.
Yeah, nice. I was looking for something. I was like, so you're saying we're in full flow and we could see a stage combust. I don't know. I was looking. Yours was better.
Yeah.
Yours was better.
Yes, thank you.
Also joining us on commentary, we have Trevor. Trevor, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, can't complain. It's certainly this testing will hit different a little bit, given that this is the only SpaceX vehicle that is not grounded right now, which is something I never thought I would say, to be honest.
We do indeed live in strange times, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. We'll talk about what we expect to see coming up here with the booster, and yeah, really quickly, I do want to remind chat, if you're watching and you have any questions while we're talking about what's going on, throw your question in chat at NASASpaceflight, and we'll see it pop up in some software we have running in the background. Speaking of the background, we have Jay operating the stream today. You can see his info there in the top right. All right, Adrian. You said that SpaceX might have had a little bit of, some issues this morning to lead them to be a little bit slower than we anticipated. I know you did the bold step of tweeting out a potential timeline. I saw that.
Yeah, and
which always means that the timeline is wrong.
Yeah, it's like as soon as I tweeted it, the tank farm went like completely silent, and I was like, cool, I have magic. Yeah, it seemed that there were some minor process things where they restarted the tank farm a bit. I mean, it happens. I guess that's a thing. It's still a fairly new tank farm, so I feel like that's forgettable. But yeah, overall, looks like they are processing into it. Again, we see the OLM vent, we see both sides active, which is a good sign if we want to see both liquid oxygen and methane, which is kind of required for a static fire. And again, we expect this test to be a static fire test of course, up to 33 engines.
Indeed. Yeah, at this point, the tank farm is kind of like the tank farm of Theseus. Like, so many parts and pieces have been changed out. Is it even the same tank farm anymore? But I digress. What time, based on the... Because that's how it works, right? You didn't just tweet that out and say, I pick this time because I'm guessing, or because I heard something. You have that time because we've seen enough tests with the orbital tank farm at this point that when certain things happen, like the Pope vent we're looking at there, that vertical vent coming out of the tank farm, when certain things like the Pope vent start, they give us an indication into what the timeline will be. So, in fairness, you tweeted that for a reason this morning.
Yeah, like there were processes that initially pointed at a static fire around 9 a.m., which of course now 25 minutes past the hour, we will not see a static fire at 9 a.m. But hey, that's how it goes sometimes. And with the help, of course, of Ryan Weber and Alex in the back channel, who also put their brains and their thoughts in there, we are right now thinking it might be around 10:30 a.m. local. So just about an hour and 5 minutes from now. Of course, that could change. There's big variation in the countdown, but that's probably roughly the guesstimate here.
Got it. And so, just quickly, in case we have viewers that aren't familiar, like what sort of indicators? I know I mentioned the Pope vent. There's, of course, if you're familiar with any of the testing on the former suborbital pad B, you remember the recondenser. Well, there's a recondenser for the orbital tank farm as well. So I imagine that's another indicator.
Yes.
What else is there? Is it the OLM vent, and it's those three, or is there more than that?
Yeah, that's like the overall big one, the Pope vent, the recondenser, the OLM vent, and of course also looking at the subcoolers, looking if they're even active, because if they don't activate, well, it's gonna be quite hard to chill something down. Looking at some pipes at the OLM, understanding if they are frosty. That's kind of the things we are looking at. Sometimes it's also besides the hard indicators, sometimes it's also a general tank farm vibe check where you're like, based on my initial expectation, or it should have been this like right now, and maybe it's too calm. That's kind of also sometimes a bit of a feeling involved, next to all the hard indicators. So yeah,
Makes sense. All right. Well, I'm looking for some questions here. Of course, Flawed Perspective wants to know about any updates with Falcon 9's second stage anomaly. Trevor, have we gotten any further updates on that?
No, so the last thing SpaceX posted about was when they were attempting to save the satellites, and then after gathering data overnight, they realized that that was very unlikely. And then we got TLEs from them, and most of them were in very, very low orbits. I would expect most, if
Explain-
not all of.
Explain what a TLE is for our. I mean, I know what it is, but in case somebody watching doesn't. I mean, I totally know what a TLE is.
TLE stands for two-line element set, and how that name relates to what I'm about to say it is, I have absolutely no idea. It's basically just orbital information of the satellite. So once they're put into orbit, there's a number of different ways that satellite operators are able to track them, and the tracking of them is called TLEs. And I believe Celeste Trek had them. I know Jonathan McDowell posted a very nice graph of all of the apogees and all of the perigees of all of the satellites. And one of the satellites, I'm pulling it up now, was in something like 116 by 80 kilometer orbit. So that was the lowest, and the highest they had some in like 235 by 191. But this was as of July 13th.
Got it.
So my guess would be the vast majority of these have re-entered by now.
Dang. Well, all right. Well, that's your Falcon 9 second stage anomaly update. Hopefully, SpaceX can complete their investigation and get back to flying Falcon 9 soon. It's so crazy. Like, the poor Cape team is gonna have nothing to do.
They
Oh,
must
no.
be so bored.
Also, poor Alex, who extended their journey just to see more launches, and no more launches. We might need to do a poll and see if Alex is cursed. But
I mean, yeah, maybe it's Alex's fault. Like maybe it's not poor Alex. Maybe it happened.
darn
because of
Alex,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, darn.
yeah.
Like just saying.
It's possible. It's in the realm of possibility. Adrian, what's going on with the orbital launch mount vent? Is it just the wind blowing it away from this camera's perspective, or is it kind of trickly versus waterfally?
That's happening. But there are good signs here as well. I mean, look at these. Oh, look at these subcoolers in the background. I think we should have a very close eye on that should be methane. So we might be very close to methane load here. I think they already started methane loading or are very close to it. And the OLM vent tends to also die down a bit as sometimes and then get stronger again. That's expected. The fact that we see 2 subcoolers going absolutely crazy here, I think means we are about to see methane load.
All right. I guess I just missed the transition of the OLM vent from that purge mode where it's chilling down the lines to. Did it ever really stop?
No, it sometimes is a bit of a weird behavior, but you can still see it's like there's even some liquid coming out of it because you can see how it basically hits the surface.
Right.
So there's something going on there, and I'm also pointing out to Jay. We really should have a very close eye to the upper tank at this point as well, because I expect a frost line there very soon.
Here's a question from Simon. If you've been paying attention to NASA Spaceflight on Twitter, or if you're a member and you got any of the recent McGregor flyover photos as part of the membership program, Simon S. is asking if the structures seen on McGregor's flyover are indeed hold-down clamps. Does that mean a booster designed for Pad B could not be tested on Pad A and vice versa? I don't know that it's a definitive, but if they do change the hold-down clamps on B, that is certainly a possibility. But at the same time, I mean, I think we've all heard Elon saying that once Pad B is built, they will switch over and retrofit Pad A. So it could just be a matter of, if it is an issue, changing those hold-down clamps. I don't know. Adrian, what do you think?
I mean, you can just upgrade the other one as well, right? I expect some block upgrades, maybe between them. Is that a frost line? No, right?
I think it's
so
just
hard.
Not quite yet.
I think it's just lighting on the weld.
Yeah.
It should come up immediately because I'm fairly sure with these 2 subcoolers, they're into methane loading. Like that looks absolutely like fueling.
All right then. Good. We'll keep our eyes on it. Trevor, any thoughts on Pad A and B here?
Well, we do know that I believe it was in the second part of Tim's interview with Elon. He said the pad is undergoing a major redesign. And one of the big things that they were wanting to change are indeed those hold-down clamps. I would imagine that's what's being tested in McGregor. That said, I'm definitely not smart enough to say that with certainty. And like Jack was saying, I imagine they'll just start building boosters for the design at Pad B and then retrofit everything at Pad A. You know, I can't imagine they'll get rid of the ring style mounting if they do go away from that on Pad B. Right? We haven't seen any photos of of what Launch Pad 2 is going to look.
You can see the discoloration. You see it on the left side, like on the right side, on the left side of the booster. You see that? There's the discoloration on the left now because the frost and condensation is going up. That's rising now fast. That's discoloration because the temperature is dropping rapidly inside of this booster.
I'm just gonna take your word for it. To be honest, I don't see it yet, but I believe you.
You can see this. There's 2 kinds of grays. There's 2 shades of gray, and you can now see it. Look at the right side as well. You can now see it on the right side as well, rising. These like they almost look like a line chart on a spreadsheet, like on a graph.
Yeah, I can see it now. I can see it.
Of course, you equate it to a spreadsheet.
It's like but you can see it, right? You can see what I mean.
Yes, I do see it. I do see it. I was just enjoying you defending your position.
Sorry for interrupting you, Trevor, there, but as soon as I saw that, I had to point it out.
No, yeah, all good. No, anyway, we haven't seen any official renderings of anything of Launch Pad 2, but I would guess it'll be a fairly substantial change. They're probably not going to retrofit everything onto Launch Pad 1, but as much as they can, and I imagine that they'll have to change out those launch clamps.
Do you want more good news?
I like news.
Do you want to see a proper waterfall vent? Can we go to like south or so? Because that's crazy. we have proper waterfall. Look, well, actually, commentator
Stop.
Jinx, we don't have anymore because now they are into locks loading.
That's hilarious. I did see what you were talking about, though, as we were shifting around on the views. And holy cow, look at those subcoolers.
Yeah, that's the other 3. So basically, all 5 subcoolers, if I'm not mistaken, are now completely spooling up and are chilling down as fast as they can. And this frost line will appear even faster because, of course, it doesn't have to fill the whole transfer tube before
Thank you.
before it reaches the outer tank wall. So this frost line appears usually basically immediately.
All right. Well, we're in the propellant loading with Booster 12, hoping to see a static fire today. There has been an overpressure notice delivered, and the road is closed. All the good things. Adrian, they even swept the pad, right?
Yeah, they even watered it. Like there was even a truck that used water to clear the pad even more.
Nice.
So they did proper FUD spotting today, which usually is a very good indicator that they kind of want to static fire this thing today.
Right. Look at all of that condensation from the locked subcoolers just creeping across the pad. That's
That is
amazing.
such a cool shot.
That is
That's-
absolutely gorgeous.
That's a mountain, and of course that's right now because they are like crash cooling this liquid oxygen. They are basically letting it flow through a bath of nitrogen and are crash cooling it down for load onto the rocket. So that creates a lot of boil off of nitrogen because that's how heat dynamics work. If you cool something, the other thing gets hotter.
Yes.
Yes, and that's what we see there. It's basically loads of nitrogen being ejected.
I have a
That-
question.
What's
Yes.
your question?
Am I the only one who, despite knowing it would be an absolutely terrible idea, has a desire to just go like run through it?
No.
No,
Like it looks
I-
like it'd be so fun.
yeah, I absolutely want to do that as well. I probably would die, but I understand the feeling. It looks so fluffy, right?
It does.
So after testing down there, frequently, we'll need to drive out to a robot or just want to get out there and take some photos. And every now and then, there's like one of these nitrogen clouds going across the road, and I'm always like, do I drive through it? Do I wait? But I always want to drive through it,
Look,
even though I know it's.
Look at the discoloration of the methane tank. You
Yeah?
can see it so
Yeah.
clearly here how there's like a complete chunk of the booster completely being condensated. And you can see it on the LOX tank. On
Yep.
the LOX tank, you can now see the discoloration as well.
It looks like
And there comes the frost.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks like there's some frost coming as well, very fast, which is quite impressive.
Sorry, I
Also-
added an energy drink.
No, you're good. You can interrupt my my story time anytime with actual events that are happening. There's also after Booster 7 static fire, walking out into the flats, like there was just condensation about 4 foot high, like up to my torso, and it was the entire flats. Like it just looked like you were standing in a cloud. It was crazy. And yeah, if it had been a little bit higher, like head level, I probably wouldn't have walked out in it, but I would have wanted to.
It's so cool that we can observe this frost appearing for Starship so closely. Imagine we had these views of Falcon, like when
Right.
they static fire Falcon and like have like a closed in zoom to see the frost line appearing.
Right. It just still boggles my mind how insanely fast they're able to load propellant. I always I feel like I've asked you or Alex for this number more times than I can count, but like it's what 5,000 tons of propellant divided by however many rings. I guess 5,000 is for the full stack. So what 3,000 tons of propellant? Divide that by however many rings in the booster. Like each ring is several hundred tons of propellant or something along. Like it's insane, and then we get to watch the frost rise with our own eyes. It's moving that fast. They're just absolutely transporting propellants around at insane speeds.
Yep. It's the amount this rocket is, well, significantly bigger than Falcon 9, right? We all agree with that. And they loaded basically as fast as a Falcon 9. The countdown is kind of close. So there you go.
Yeah, just wild. Update. We have a poll in chat. Would you join Trevor running through the venting while blasting out Taylor Swift? Option A is yes, cools you in a cruel summer. Option B is no, I knew Trevor was trouble.
I love it.
I assume those are references from Chris. Good job, Chris.
I love it. Thank you.
Is Chris like actively studying up on
I
Taylor
think
Swift
so.
he can make Taylor Swift references?
Like Trevor's my friend, and I've tried to educate myself slightly, just so it's every word that comes out of his mouth isn't gibberish. But I think Chris B like full on knows what's up. I'm just pretending. Demars
knows how to use Google.
Demars, thank you for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. RC Horseman gifting 10 Red Team memberships. And I don't know if Jay is prepared to do this. Ninja Decimator. Pew, pew, pew.
I think he isn't.
I think he isn't. Also gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Y'all, thank you so much for coming out with the support on Booster 12 Static Fire Day. If you got a membership from somebody, be sure to thank them. That's an awful nice thing for them to do. They're hooking you up and supporting the channel. Skull Kid Ray, thank you for the 10 curly L's. Ulrich, thank you for the super chat and saying keep up the good work. We really appreciate it. Rico, becoming a Padrat member. Fred becoming a Padrat member. And Flippers, it's a transfer tube, Flip. It's a transfer tube. How exactly will the transfer tube affect the booster having boomies? I'm not quite sure what you're asking there, but we did talk about that a little bit on Starbase Update, so make sure you watch that if you haven't already.
Hey.
What?
Methane frost line.
Hey, methane frost.
Yep. It's happening. It's going good. I'm happy.
So, for a static fire, refresh my memory, about how much propellant do we expect to be loaded?
Quite a lot of logs, and not that much more methane. They will probably limit, because if you limit the amount of methane, you kind of limit the chance that something go boom.
Right, they want to load the minimum amount of methane possible to limit explosion potential. Explosion. What's wrong with my brain? But I imagine they load significantly more LOX because they want to ballast down super heavy with weight, so that at no point the thrust weight of the Raptors during the static fire exceed the weight of the booster. Because you don't want a situation where it becomes a dynamic fire, right? We recently saw that happen.
Yeah, thanks by the way for reminding me, because up until this point I was never some venting. I was never scared for any static fire attempt, but thanks to Tianlong 3, I now have a whole different perspective on static fires.
It's pretty funny. I mean, it's one of those questions I feel like we've been getting for years and years at this point. And it's always the kind of question where it's like, oh, that would never happen.
And now it's like, well, it's no longer no.
Right. It would be bad if it happened. Let's see. Magnum, speaking of static fires, is asking, do you think this will be the only static fire for Booster 12, or do you think they're going to do more, maybe the landing engines? I'll go to you first, Trevor. What do you think? Is this going to be it for Booster 12 static fires, or you think they'll do a bunch of different ones, or maybe just one more one?
Assuming that this test is nominal, which at this point is not a huge if, but definitely still a pretty big if.
Right.
I would say this will be the only one, because keep in mind this does include all of those landing engines, and even though the propellant delivery system, at least for the liquid oxygen, is slightly different for landing burn compared to boost back and ascent burns, I doubt they really at this point care enough to test that in a static fire. But I also could be wrong, right? SpaceX probably has a little bit of downtime while ship gets ready, since they're still doing a ton of TPS work on ship. So we'll just have to see, but my guess would be this is, assuming it's nominal, this will be the only one.
Yeah, and like you said, relatively big assumption, but not out of the realm of possibility. I think recent booster testing at Starbase has been pretty smooth. In fact, the fact that we had this little delay this morning was kind of threw me off a bit. Like I expected them to sort of start right at the road closure and get right into it. So a rare sort of stumble this morning, if you want to even call it that. It really, who knows? Maybe they're just testing even colder propellant, or they wanted to get the tank farm in some specific configuration before moving into this test. Adrian, what do you think? Only static fire, or maybe another one?
I am kind of with Trevor. I feel like that there is actually, if you have to quantify it, this is probably the highest likelihood we will ever get again for multiple static fire tests, because there could be reasons to for example fire like the landing engines with maybe some like special handover or something. I think there could be a reason for that. However, I'm also more leaning on the probably not team here. But yeah, let's be real. A week ago, if you had asked me would they ever spin prime a booster again, I would be like, yeah, probably not. And here we are with a spin prime booster.
Yeah, pretty nifty that they in fact did that spin prime. In fact, for a little bit, I was like, oh, I wonder if this will be a pre-burner. They'll do all of the tests, but I think based on clearing out the area under the pad, they're preparing for thrust to be generated, not just a little bit of flame. So yeah, static fire, no pre-burner. I think I'm on the same page. I think if, again, assuming this static fire goes well and they don't need to do another one to like get it right, yeah, I think this booster goes back to the production site and is readied for flight.
And also, just look in the background of the shot we just had. They're very obviously anxiously waiting to work on Pad B. You can see in just the little bit of the crane that they're using. Right, Pad B already seems to be kind of behind schedule from the very, very ambitious schedule that they posted about having like the entire tower stacked by mid next month. But yeah, they probably want to not have to delay work on that for longer than they absolutely need to.
Yeah, that's a really good point. In fact, I'm surprised the CC8800-1 crane, it's a mouthful, hasn't been like laid down for this test. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, it's got to be a big disruption to any construction work or GSE work for that matter on Pad A. Anytime they do one of these tests, it's part of the reason they moved all of their ship testing over to Massey's, and also part of the booster testing as well. All the cryos now happen over at Massey's, which frees up the launch site. So good point, Trevor. Good job. D.A. Swanson is asking, has the hot stage ring been nixed from Booster 12 in future? Thank you. No. That's also, when we say after this static fire, Booster 12 will get rolled back to the production site and ready for flight, one of the activities included in ready for flight is they will install the hot stage ring on Booster 12. It's not there right now because that's just not how they roll with these tests. I think the last 3 boosters have not static fired with the hot stage ring. I don't think any booster has static fired with a hot stage ring for that matter.
I'm not sure about 7. 7 had like a gazillion tests.
Yeah.
So it could have been.
I think 7 didn't even have one, right?
Oh, true. 7 didn't have one.
Sorry, I meant 9. The first one with one.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'm waiting for Alex to type, but he's too busy talking about methane, so.
And he's also giving us a T0, by the way, which he expects right now to be 10:15 a.m. Central. So if you look at the top left, that's in less than 30 minutes from now.
Hooray. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Alex.
Also to Mytholox, becoming a Capcom member. Hey, guess what, Mytholox? You get Discord access with Capcom membership and above. So pop into Discord and say, hey, find a channel that you enjoy. There's a food chat. There's a sports ball channel. There's actually channels about rockets, that sort of thing. Whatever you want to talk about, the members Discord rules. Also, great place to access the member level photos channel and see literally everything photo-wise that we put out. But thank you so much for that. We really rely on the member program. It's so important. So it's always nice to see new people getting in, nice to see people getting gifted memberships. But I do think Capcom's kind of the sweet spot. So Mytholox, hop into Discord and say hey.
Chat is fact-checking us, and apparently Booster 9 had a hot staging ring during its static fire.
That's what I thought. Okay, I'm not insane.
Oh, look at that. All right, then. I'm just a big dumb idiot. But you already knew that.
I was going to say nothing new.
Wow.
I beat you to it. SN15... Go ahead.
We have some chine venting there. I'm just pointing it out because it's happening right now.
That'll be the CO2 tanks, right?
Yes, that's the CO2 tank that is used to purge basically the engine sections behind the Raptor engines to eliminate any potential residue infernos. Residue infernos, by the way, interesting name.
What?
It's a residue fire, but it's a lot of fire, so it's an inferno. So it's a residue inferno. What?
You lost me. Wow, that frost is really rising fast.
Yeah, they can load these booster quite fast. I mean, the methane load takes 50 minutes and the LOX load takes 40 minutes. So both of that are tracking to a T0 of 10-15. So you can also see the expected loads here. Methane will be very, very empty probably. The LOX is kind of used as a counterweight during these static fire tests, because if they have not changed from the last time we kind of got an idea about this, they are only firing at roughly 50% for these static fires, and also using a ton of LOX as counterweight, so they do not actually overstretch their hold-on clamps and everything.
Yeah, makes sense. Steve Park asking what the ETA is for fire. We already kind of mentioned that. 10-15 is what we're currently estimating. That's the first word in ETA is estimated. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Kirito is asking, is it possible that Booster 12 had its spin prime test added as a result of the Raptor boost engine that failed on Flight 4? It's possible. I don't know. Trevor, what do you think?
I personally doubt it, just because a spin prime test is part of a static fire test. Everything that's done on the spin prime is done on the static fire, and you're also testing the other side of the engine, because keep in mind the spin prime test is only the liquid oxygen side of the engine, the preburner that runs Oxridge. And then when they used to do preburners, that would test the methane side. But now they are just doing the spin prime into static fire, but static fire involves the spinning up the engines or the turbines on both sides, firing the preburners, and then the actual main combustion chamber. So I would be very surprised if it had anything to do with that.
I mean, it would they did do a spin prime test with Booster 12 a couple days ago. So it does, beg the question, why? Because we haven't seen them do a spin prime since, I think, Booster 9, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken. But either way, they haven't done a spin prime on a booster in a while, and now they have. So it makes sense to me that people are wondering, what changed? What's the difference? Why do that again if it's seemingly you didn't need to? My gut was immediately like, oh, has there been a hardware change? Because we know that there's been some issues with the LOX inlets on the booster clogging, and seemingly mitigated on the last flight. The booster, was able to land relatively softly in a predetermined location. That's how we got the buoy cam, right? So either way, maybe it's not a hardware thing. Maybe it's not a LOX inlet thing. Maybe it's something to do with the Raptors themselves. These are a slightly new version of Raptor, so they want to test 33 of them spinning up all at the same time. Who knows? But it's interesting to wonder, why was that spin prime test added to the flow this time around? SN15, the best ship ever, says super heavy becomes super heavy. Haha, because they're loading a bunch of propellant on it. Ronald, thanks for becoming a Red Team member. Robert, thank you for gifting 10 Red Team memberships. Thank you so much. That's extremely generous of you. Robert VDeb. Make sure you thank whoever's gifted the membership. If you got one from Robert, thank Robert. If you got one from RC Horseman, thank RC Horseman. If you got one from Ninja Decimator, thank them. Musical Wolves with a super chat. They say, will SpaceX try to close the chopsticks during static fire for catch practice? I don't think so. I think that's unnecessarily complicating a already complicated test. I do wonder if we will see more sort of slap tests like we saw with Booster 10 or Booster 14.1. I don't know. What do you think, Trevor?
I definitely don't think it'll be part of today's test for the reasons you were saying. Maybe they'll do more, but I kind of am skeptical. I think they got all of the data they needed to get out of that Booster 14.1 test tank. I don't really see what else they would have to learn. I think at this point they just need to go for an attempt on this flight, and that the big item for that seems to probably be FAA approval to bring the booster all the way back.
Right.
Hardware-wise, right, as you can see, boosters already in testing and hopefully nearing completion ship. They've made a ton of progress. It's still a few weeks out, I'd say, but I would say hardware-wise, we'll be ready for, a catch attempt in, like, let's be a bit pessimistic, a month, but who knows about FAA?
Yeah, I think if they are going to do more chopsticks testing, they'll do it with additional dedicated test hardware, because it would really stink to damage this booster when you're expecting to use it for flight. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see, I suppose.
May I chime in?
Yes, please. You can chime in.
We have engine chill. You can see it at the bottom left there, right about the name Musical Wolves, where the engine chill pit has started, which means they are now chilling. There we go. They're chilling down the 33 Raptor engines in preparation for ignition. That happens 20 minutes before firing. So I feel like at this point, we feel very confident it's 10:15.
Excellent. Yeah, you can see the engine chill pit over there off to the left. That's where the what is it? I assume liquid oxygen that's used to chill down the engines is dumped.
Yes, they used to dispose that kind of around the OLM, and at some point discovered that apparently is not a wonderful idea. And then they had a pipe that goes all the way to there. I wonder why they discovered that. There's so many options when they could have discovered that dumping your engine chill right next to the OLM is a bad idea.
Yeah, something tells me Booster 7 remembers exactly. Even in the atomized state Booster 7 currently is, I'm sure its individual constituent pieces remember the Booster 7 spin prime detonation. Were they using LOX at that point for the chill down, or were they using methane? Something in my brain.
And what has to be methane as well, because if you ignite LOX, it doesn't go that boom.
Right.
So they're probably. I wouldn't be surprised if it like. The engine chill is probably using some of both commodities, and well, then you end up in a bubble below your OLM. And if you ignite that, well, then you damage a hose.
That poor hose. It never did anything to anybody. It was just a hose.
Yep.
Pilly 2000 is asking, what are the two tubes on the outside of the booster for? You can see them running up and down. What is that? The ventral side of the booster? Plus Z? I don't know. I have no idea. But what are those tubes? Is that, I mean, is it fair to call that a raceway like we see on Falcon 9?
I would call it more like press lines. To my knowledge, these are mostly used to basically increase the pressure. Like they're basically used to pressurize the tanks. But there's also, I think on the now I'm wondering where the data line is, because there's probably also there.
I think that's on
one-
the other side, along with
Yeah.
the FTS boxes and all of that, which we
Yeah,
can't
the other
see from
side
this
is the
angle.
primary raceway. This is
Yeah.
the secondary, just like Falcon.
Yeah,
Got
this is just the press lines. The other one has the data lines and the primary and the FTS. But this is for pressurizing the tanks.
And
Also,
again,
Jack,
Super
Alex
Heavy
is correcting
uses.
you.
Yep.
This is
Go
the
ahead.
minus Z side, which frankly I think is super obvious, and I have no idea how you could get that wrong.
Are you being serious?
Yeah, I mean,
No,
shame.
Alex is literally telling us right now on the back channel, this is C minus on Falcon 9. It's flip. Primary is on Z plus. It's, how does he know?
Because he's Alex. All right. You know what? Fine. Trevor, you get to be disappointed in me today. I have disappointed you. I will own it. I'm sorry.
I couldn't. I couldn't even identify these sites. I'm stupid.
Yeah, no, I couldn't either. I just guessed because I figured it was Z, and I just guessed plus or minus. And Trevor's acting like I just punched a baby. Like, geez, Trevor.
You know what was very, very cool? Getting to watch Alex go under a Falcon 9 booster for the first time.
That was really cool.
Did
He's like,
he
"Oh, here's the-"
overanalyze it?
Oh, of course he did. I don't know.
I'm not disappointed.
I don't know that I would say he analyzed. I don't know if I would say he overanalyzed it, but he was like looking at the weld lines and everything, and like, oh, here's the collection. I was like, oh my god, dude, really?
Also, Alex was wrong. He was wrong. Primary is TE side, which is negative Z. Shame
So
on
this
you,
is-
Alex.
So what we see right now is plus Z. The other side is.
So I was right.
negative Z.
So I was right.
No, I think
No, I think you said plus Z.
Falcon.
You said plus Z.
So I was right. In your face, Trevor.
I'm sorry. You can be disappointed in me now.
Wouldn't change. Like that's it's just a steady state. Peter Copper, thank you for for becoming a Red Team member. Nick Klaus, thank you for the super chat. They say, "Go NSF, go SpaceX. When will Starship 5 patches be available?" Adrian,
Full stack, like the flight full stack usually. Like not the flight. Sorry, the wet dress rehearsal full stack. We are aiming for that. We are in the design process. It's getting there. It will be. There will be a. I can confirm we will have a Flight 5 patch. There we go.
indeed, the Flight 5 patch will exist. You haven't sent me any of the design. Like normally, I get a little sneak peek. I want to give me a sneak peek
I will give you a sneak peek.
just for me, so that way I can be like, "Oh, you guys, it's amazing." But then you can't see it, and then it'll come out. It'll come out when we get a full stack for Flight 5. Don't you worry, your pretty little heads. But in the meantime, shop.NASASpaceflight does still exist, and we have some new features, including prints. I know we talk a lot about metal prints, but now we have paper prints, and you can get them pre-framed or just have them come as they are. But it's a little bit cheaper option if you can't afford a metal print or you just don't want one for whatever reason. So yeah, check out the prints. I'm being very deliberate with how I say that. Not metal prints, although check those out too. But yeah, prints available in the NSF shop. And same deal as the metal prints, a portion of the sale goes to support the photographer who took the image. So not only are you supporting NSF, but you're also supporting people who make the images that you enjoy enough to put on your wall. So that's really cool. Also, I would be remiss if I did not mention L2 is also in the store. If you didn't know this, NASA Spaceflight started out as a website and a forum, and there's a paid side of the forum called L2 with all kinds of crazy stuff in it. I'm doing it a disservice by diminutively calling it crazy stuff, but no, there's a lot of amazing stuff on L2. Previously, you had to sign up sort of on the forum, on the website or whatever. Now you can just do it through the shop. It's a great way to support NSF, and it gives you access to the fire hose of information that is L2. So be sure to check that out if you so desire. All right, we're getting real close here, about 10 minutes.
Yes.
10 minutes or so estimated to go.
The next thing we should see is the return of the OLM vent, because that means they are wrapping up the LOX load.
Excellent. Well, we'll keep our eyes open for that. Quite a lot of LOX on there. Not so much methane, which, as we discussed, is what we want to see on a test like this, because you don't want any extra explosive potential, any more than absolutely necessary.
Yep, that's the plan. I mean, it's really it's probably the cheapest way to buy down risk in these tests. Just put in a lot of LOX, counterweight this thing, and be happy with that.
Good deal. Can't See Me is asking, when do you think we'll see a taller megabay to clear additional height of version 2 and version 3 booster? Trevor, do you think we'll see a taller megabay or two in Starbase eventually?
So, if I remember correctly, the Mega Bay already has a little bit of wiggle room, so that they could extend booster by a ring or two, and still probably be able to stack it and whatnot. So, my guess is not soon. They seem to be very happy with the Mega Bays. But that said, at some point we are kind of expecting to see the high bay be destroyed. So maybe the high bay would be replaced with the high mega bay. But I kind of doubt it. I think we'll see. They seem very happy with the stalls that they have in the current mega bays, and right, they're still building out some of the mega bays. So my guess would be not soon, if ever.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically the same answer I was going to give. I expect the high bay to go away at some point and another mega bay to go up in its place. Maybe it's bigger, maybe not. But you got to remember that mega bays are sized for boosters, so the ship has quite a room to grow in one. I don't know. Adrian, any thoughts? As I am cognizant that we are getting closer and closer to a potential static fire here.
I don't have any additional thoughts, but I should mention something that Alex told me, which I want to point out here. You remember this neat little vent that appears T-minus 40 seconds? That usually tells us, hey there, below T-minus 40 seconds. This vent apparently has been changing location, so we expect it today to be closer to the booster QD. So around when we expect the T-minus 40 seconds, it will probably vent there in the area, but again, it has changed position, so that will be interesting to spot on today's test.
All right, well, keep our eyes on it. That reminds me of the old, remember the tri-vent on ships when they were doing the
I
low
miss
altitude
tri-vent.
hops? I miss tri-vent.
Bring back Trivent.
Yeah, and later it then become the double vent.
Yeah, the bi-vent, yeah. Oh, good times. Old school tank watching.
What would the prefix for 33 be?
Like
dodeca,
something, yeah.
We at some point, I know at some point we checked that, and people like were like, oh, it's that kind of vent. But yeah.
Good deal. 10:08 right now, expecting a static fire based on the tank farm activity around 10:15 nominally. We're getting into the serious times here.
I'm looking at the methane subcoolers, and because it will be relatively close where LOX and methane start to wrap up, so it's gonna be interesting to spot what wraps up early. And the good thing is the venting will actually decrease close to the static fire. That's kind of neat, because, well, the tank farm is no longer going crazy.
Right.
But that's the idea here. I think we should be very close to the OLM vent returning, and then we are basically can confirm that we have a full LOX tank.
Good deal. Chat, I see your questions. I see your support. I think we'll hold it till after the static fire. Generally what we're going to do here is we're going to see the static fire happen, fingers crossed, and we will queue up some replays, and we'll do some more support and some more questions while we're waiting for the replays so we can sort of analyze, was that all 33? How did it look? Was it clean? Etc. So do not
Yeah,
fret. We
absolutely.
will get to your questions and support here in a little bit, but as we are hopefully about 5 minutes away, let's stick to what we can see on screen here at the moment.
Yep.
I guess
And
we're
again, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you.
Yeah, we are just seconds away from them wrapping up propellant load here. That's the expectation. And I mean, if you look at the LOX tank, there's not that much more room to increase the LOX load here. It's basically full. So at some
Right.
point now they have to stop.
All right. Well, all eyes on that OLM vent that we will be able to see they have indeed stopped propellant loading.
Yep.
Always love to see a frosty booster. I mean, just look at the wisps of condensation coming off of that thing.
And we should be again. We just it's a bit of a guesstimation of 1015, so it could be 1016, could be 1014. We will know it closer to it, of course, but that's just the rough eyeballing. Although Alex has come very close lately.
Yeah, it's quite remarkable what a little bit of data and some spreadsheets and an astute observer can accomplish. I mean, I think back in the suborbital pad days, feels weird saying that, we got pretty dang, and by we I mean you and Alex, got pretty dang precise with the timings. And give us a little bit more time and a little bit more data. Also, give us a tank farm that isn't constantly changing and a vehicle
Yeah, that would be nice.
isn't constantly changing, and we'll be able to do things like have the timeline on the top left again and stuff like that. Just because more data, more better.
I'm so glad the vertical tanks are gone.
Me too.
I
Because
know.
it's so much better viewing, right?
Yes, and I was
that.
go ahead.
What?
I was going to say there's the viewing aspect, but then there's also just that those things were kind of an embarrassment for SpaceX, how unsuccessful that tank farm design was.
We can
think
build a
we
rocket. We
can-
cannot build a tank farm.
I think they just have wrapped up methane loading and they have wrapped up LOX loading. I think the rocket is fully fueled, fully
Excellent.
for this test today.
Excellent.
Yeah, so additional things that we'll see before static fire, of course, about around that 40-second mark, a little after that vent Adrian was talking about, we'll see the DSS start. And then right before static fire, there will, of course, be the normal deluge. So that will be our indication that we will be quiet so y'all can enjoy the audio.
Yeah, a lot of things poised to happen in rapid succession. That 40-second vent, like you said, the detonation suppression system, and of course the deluge. So here we go. Hopefully just a few minutes away. We've got a fully frosty, at least for this test, booster, a loaded up LOX tank, a partial methane load, which is good because, again, we want to limit the explosive potential here. We've got a clean
And-
pad. I mean, what more could you
Yep.
want?
Yeah, so when we start seeing the engine ignition, there's a chance, depending, sometimes we're able to see it, sometimes dust and everything gets in the way, but they'll ignite they have 3 banks of engines that they ignite in succession. So there'll be,
Look at that.
so there may
There
be
was
like
some-
3 waves that you'll see of intensity increasing, assuming that they're able to get all 33 up.
Like center ring, inner ring, outer ring kind of thing. Here we go.
There we
it
go.
is. That's the DSS.
Fantastic. All right,
Nice.
so now begins the analysis. We'll get the replays queued up in the background there. Thank you to Thomas and Jay for sorting out the replays. So we're gonna watch this again and again and
Looked
figure out
like-
exactly what it was we just saw. But it looked nice and clean. I mean, I think it looked
Yeah,
pretty
that
good.
seemed like a solid 8 seconds or so based on my initial counting. Of course, when we have replays, we'll be able to know for sure better, but that was good. And you could very clearly see at least 2 banks that ignited, and you could kind of see the third. So, promising sign.
You can see the booster too has knocked off a lot of the frost near the top of the LOX tank. It's looking more steel than frost right now. Must have really knocked off a lot of ice. Adrian, what were you gonna say?
I think I even counted 10 right now. I just rewinded while you were talking, and I almost got to 10, so I think it might even be around that. So quite interesting. That was long, and of course they right away move into savings operations here because you still have a lot of propellant into this booster. So we see them now spooling up tank farm again for saving operations. But yeah, I could really. Trevor is completely right. You could see like these 2 bangs firing up because they staged the ignition, and it's kind of crazy how you see a first flash and then a second, even brighter flash while the second bank of Raptors is igniting.
They not only staged the ignition, they also staged the combustion.
Yeah, it's a lot of staging here.
I'm
and
surprised.
it's full flow.
I'm shocked. I got a chuckle out of you. I thought you were gonna groan, Trevor.
I thought it was funny.
All right. Once again, we are working on replays, so stand by. We will. Das, you can't be typing. You can't be typing stuff like that in the back channel. Yeah. So let's run through some support really quick while we wait on those replays. Alan, thanks for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Wow, a lot of gifted memberships on this stream. Thank you so much, everyone. Mr. Rich Texas gifting 10 Red Team memberships, and Dean Brilhart also gifting 10 Red Team memberships. Fantastic. Jonathan with a store purchase. Looks like they got a couple patches. They say, best birthday present ever. First had STS-127 launch on my birthday, and now I can mark off that I had super heavy static fire on my birthday. All right. Chat, you know the drill. Everyone say happy birthday, Jonathan. Happy birthday, Jonathan. And thanks for the store purchases there. We hope you enjoy your commemoration of another orbit around the sun.
Yeah, I think I was tricked
Alex?
a bit by the switching of cameras. Alex also says 8, so I'm overruled here. So congrats, you too.
Yeah, I didn't even bother counting, so I'll defer to y'all.
And that, I think, is a little bit longer than some of the previous static fires we've had, but in line with some of the known nominal ones. So I would say, based on, obviously we don't know for sure, we don't have any official word from SpaceX, but based purely on duration, I would say that is a very good sign that this was a successful test.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's a fair assessment. I'm just mesmerized by the waterfall vent on the orbital launch mount. Like, it's just pulsing, and each time they open it back up again, there's the cloud of nitrogen that's blasting out of there. It's kind of beautiful. Max E, is that our Max E? Hi, Max. They say good morning, gang. Good morning, Max. With a super chat. You didn't need to do. You could have just said good morning in the back channel. If it is Max E, I think it's Max. Ethereal Swordsman, thank you for the support. They say if it was methane, it would be igniting in the flare. Correct. I'm never gonna live it down. And yeah, still working on replays. Stand by. Once again, we did have what appeared to be a full 33 engine static fire of Booster 12 at 10:13 Central Time. But it looked good. I did see a lot of dust. I don't know if dust is the right word. It was like brown and not white. It wasn't vaporized deluge water. So I'm a little bit curious about that. But it could have just been, everything in Boca is covered in sand and dust at all times. So it could have just been some sand on the pad. I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that?
Yeah, I saw it to the left, right? You saw it more. after the static fire, more over the deluge farm, almost like lingering. I agree. I saw that, but sometimes it just happens. It also sometimes comes down to like camera and visibility. It's I don't think it's any big deal. And as we said before, this feels like a clean test so far. And props to them to just go. It didn't seem like they even hold it at T-minus 40 seconds. They just went past that.
Yeah, we did see that weird vent. I don't know if that was the 40-second vent or what.
That was my ooh that Chris Bergen in the back channel pointed out as me being an Alex impersonator. But that ooh was me seeing that vent.
You realize you've just given me fodder for my soundboard.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to hear the sound a lot in the future.
Your one saving grace is that I still haven't gotten around to clipping Scott Manley from the Flight 4 stream saying vacuum Raptors. So I'm way behind, but you're on my list now. Be aware. So now SpaceX will begin to drain the booster, reclaim all the liquid oxygen and methane that they can, put it back in the tank farm, and that looked like a nice clean test. And we will get more eyes on it here shortly once we get these replays up and running. But
you can see already tank farm is very much in reclaiming mode.
Oh yeah, look at that. Gosh, it's so nice not having those vertical tanks anymore.
Yeah, it's so good. I hate all my homies hate vertical.
But really, like there's a specific angle out in the dunes that you used to be able to get back in like the Starhopper and before the orbital pad was built days, and that angle exists again. I'm going to be a broken record about this, but I'm so delighted those vertical tanks are gone. I didn't realize how much I did not like them until they were gone.
It's crazy how much Starbase has changed in the just over a month it's been since I was down there. Like, the vertical tanks are gone, all of a sudden there's like a second pad that's starting to form. The pace that they're moving is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, the suborbital side is completely different. I did a bit of traveling over the last month as well. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. Got to go to New Zealand, did a whole bunch of cool stuff. Thank you, Rocket Lab. But yeah, there's like no more hill even at the suborbital side. Like they completely flattened it out. There's like temporary fencing where there used to be a wall, all kinds of stuff. It's you blink and you miss stuff happening at Starbase. It's just astounding.
And I looked recently at pictures from when I was there last year.
Right.
I looked at these pictures and were like, oh, these look ancient.
Was that really just last? I guess, yeah, it was last year.
It was April yes, my God, last year. There we go. That's the word.
That's wild. It feels like a different lifetime.
Yep.
Juan, thank you for the 25 euros, I think those are. They say, do we accept, I think they mean accept, SpaceX to perform some sort of failure? No, expect. Okay, let me start over. Do we expect SpaceX to perform some sort of failure test for booster catching to test safety protocols? Example being, the catch misses the pins due to misalignment and it lands on the grid fins instead. I do not expect any such testing. Trevor?
I don't see, for the example that they gave, I don't see how that failure mode would be possible, because our understanding basically of how this booster catch is going to work is they're just going to like slam the chopsticks into the side and then have the booster fall through them until it's on those pins. It's not like it's trying to just target those two pins. And then once they have it in that initial configuration, they could rotate the booster or whatever to get the stabilizers in as well. So I don't see how that specific failure mode would go. But anyway, no matter what, I do not think we'll see them do any sort of testing like this. There would be too much risk to all of the infrastructure. And realistically, the best time to learn something like that is just in flight when they're trying to bring one back.
Talking
And
while
Jack
muted.
may be talking while muted. Yeah.
He is.
Hey, I was talking while muted.
If you had that on your bingo card, congratulations.
I'm an idiot. No, but also to your point, Trevor, the point about the infrastructure. We talked about earlier the fact that we don't expect additional static fires with Booster 12, in part because that sort of thing ties up the infrastructure work at the launch site. If you're going to test some sort of failure mode from a catch, like good luck building a second tower, or depending on how bad it goes, good luck launching anytime soon if the tank farm gets nuked. Like if you're going to nuke the tank farm, do it during an actual catch test.
Yeah, I really don't think there's any likelihood of them really destroying the tank farm, even with a failed catch, just because there's so little propellant in the booster at that point that I just don't think it'll be a problem.
Yeah, my
And
concern
feel free to
with
throw
that.
those words at me when it's a big problem.
Will you eat a hat?
No.
Okay.
Aww.
Will you listen to an entire vaporwave album of my choice?
What is a vaporwave album?
Oh my God, Trevor! It's
Is
a
that a
genre
band?
it's a genre of music. Okay.
Oh.
Anyways, my concern with a failure on a booster catch wouldn't be the propellant. Adamo in chat says he doesn't know if it's Trevor. Of course, it's Trevor.
Trevor has a few topics in which he's incredibly educated on,
Taylor
and then
Swift.
after some, it rapidly falls off.
Math, after those two, I'm not sure. It's sort of he's put so much in his brain that there's no room for pop culture apparently. Anyways, if I can get this thought out.
Same here, by the way.
Mine is the reverse. It's so much pop culture. If I can get this thought out, my concern with a failed catch wouldn't be the fire or potential explosion from the residual propellants. It would be more the mass, like just the sheer mass of the booster crushing the tank farm. Yeah, I don't know. That's just me though.
Yeah.
Chris P, thanks for upgrading to Capcom membership. David, thank you for grabbing a print from the store. Ooh, looks like they got one of Sean's. Which one did they grab? Nice. They got the Flight 4 liftoff shot. That is a good one. I love Sean.
that one is kinda misty. Like it has just enough for it to make it like really cool.
Can we get a launch though, like with this lighting? Like not super early, just after sunrise. Like can we get just like a plain daylight launch a couple times, and then maybe like a night launch, and then if I'm really being greedy, can we get like a booster jellyfish, please? Like the hot stage jellyfish effect. I don't even know if my brain is ready for that, but yeah. Go ahead.
Hey Jack, should I hurt you?
Please don't hurt me.
First attempt of the first flight.
What about it? Oh yeah. The weather was so nice. Thanks for that.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you.
problem.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you. Max in our back channel says Starship launch at 5 p.m. Please. Yes. Seconding that. Astro Knucklehead, what's up, buddy? It was super cool seeing you down in Starbase the other day, but I guess it's more like the other week at this point. What is time? Astro Knucklehead is asking, what special FOD protocols occur prior to static fires and launches at the launch site? Adrian, you were talking a little bit about that earlier. They swept and watered down the pad?
Yeah, they basically, I mean, I'm not even joking. There's people sometimes going around with brooms and making sure that there's no FOD. And then they also water it with a truck and also use that to clean the area. Because while a rock is just a rock, imagine now a rock being propelled by 33 Raptor engines. That suddenly becomes a projectile. So
yes,
that's kind of the problem they have. They don't want to accelerate rocks very, very fast.
I mean, it's obviously a much different scale, but it's the same kind of deal where when you're in orbit, even a little tiny, like millimeter-sized fleck of paint is moving so fast and has so much energy it can do a lot of damage. Even a little tiny pebble on the base of the pad, blasted by 33 Raptor engines, is no good. FOD bad.
Yep. And also somebody pointing out why they don't use the deluge. First, they clear a way bigger area than the deluge. And also the deluge already has kind of a force. So you already get into the situation where you would accelerate at least the pebble quite a bit. So why not avoid that scenario completely by just cleaning the pad? FOD walks have been around successfully for rockets forever. And there's a reason for that.
Yeah, and if you're wondering what we're talking about, FOD is foreign object debris. Simon grabbing. Ooh, Simon got L2 lifetime on the store. Holy cow, Simon. Thank you. They say it's about time I got around to doing this. Keep up the great work, guys. Simon, Stockton, England. Thank you, Simon. I know Chris B will appreciate that. I know everyone at NSF will appreciate that. L2 lifetime is a big deal. I mean, it's not cheap, and we don't really advertise it. But if you are a member for a long time, yeah. Oh my, wait, hang on.
Yeah,
We have
yeah,
an
it's
awesome
happening.
poll.
And it's Jack, it's not really helping you.
It's just not going good. Okay, there's a new poll in chat. Have you ever heard of vaporwave? And the option A is no. Sounds like a brand of pans. What? And option B is yes. I can be friends with Jack. And option B is getting trounced right now. What the heck? Everyone needs to go listen to vaporwave, even if you hate it. That's your homework. That is chat's homework. It's amazing. It's nostalgic. Hey, how about those replays? Do we have replays so I can stop getting trounced in this poll?
I think we are close. We are closing in. Yeah,
Okay.
we are closing into replays.
It's super noticeable though. Look at the LOX tank. You can see
The frost.
lots of propellant has already been detanked from that.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of lag time between when we see the frost disappear because the actual tank walls have to warm up themselves as well. So probably a lot lower than that even frost level that we're seeing right there.
I suspect where you can kind of see, right, there's the frost line, which is obviously like melting, and then there's kind of where the vapor is coming out, which is maybe like 2 or 3 rings lower. I kind of suspect that's about where the propellant level is right now.
Yeah, that's an excellent observation. Kind of right near the top of the chines would be the propellant level at this point, based on that vapor versus just frost above it. Neat.
Yeah, so they are like 1/3 detanked.
Good deal. Let me keep running some support while we wait on those replays. And I'm just getting smashed in this poll. 1,000 people have voted.
Yeah, it's not looking good for you. I mean, at least 39% are with you.
I mean, listen to FM Skyline, listen to George Clanton, listen to St. Pepsi. There's surfing. There's so many good bands. Like, what are you doing, people? Come on.
See, Jack, I think you need to be more optimistic because it may be that like 700 people can't be friends with you, but still like 400 people can be friends with you.
That's true. That's
I
true.
I want the Skinner meme from Simpsons now. Am I out of touch? No, it's the chat who is wrong.
It's the chat who is wrong. Oh, man. Safara, thank you for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Increase SFS, thank you for gifting a Red Team membership. Apocalypse Cow, that's Danger Moo, gifting 10 Red Team memberships. You guys are awesome. Thank you, Danger Moo. Thank you, everybody. Clark Griswold, reference acknowledged. Trevor and Adrian, do either of you know who Clark Griswold is?
Nope.
Moving along. Boy, do I have some movies for you. Sue Origin gifting a Red Team membership. Gifting 3 Red Team memberships, actually, individually. Thank you for that. Justice with a store purchase. They got a Max print, a Flight 2 patch, and that's awesome. I know Max will appreciate that. That's a beautiful shot of Falcon Heavy, so enjoy that gracing your walls.
I love the green, by the way. I cannot explain to you why I love it so much, but I love the green in that shot.
It's beautiful. It's just beautiful. Way to go, Max. Consistently killing it. And yeah, a portion of that sale will go to Max so he can continue to kill it. So thank you, Justice. Brandon, looks like they got the Flight 2 patch, but my panel might be glitching. Let me refresh. No, they did. They got the Flight 2 patch. They say Wizard Elon. I have no idea what that means, but good on you. Thank you for the store purchase. And Sue Origin gifting 3 more Red Team memberships. Thank you so much. All right. Closing in on replays here. We are finalizing the audio and everything and getting them nice and wrapped up and good to go. In the meantime, we do have a couple questions. Right off the bat, Dean Brillhart is asking, can you please let us know how Jay feels about Ship 26? So Jay, let us know. He says it's stupid in the back channel. So there you go. He's on record. Kevin certainly won't be mad at all.
And we are back in fighting in the back channel.
Sometimes it's fun to just like throw a rock and run away.
Yeah, it's like you just throw it in there and then you're like, don't look back.
Oh, good deal. Continuing to watch. So now the vapor is like below the chines.
Yeah. It's like almost halfway there.
Yeah. Continuing to watch the booster get detanked here. There's got to be a better word than detanked. Drained? Unfilled? I don't know. Drain back, says Alex. Yeah, drain back sounds good. I like drain back.
Just call it filling the tank farm.
The booster is now filling the tank farm. I mean, not wrong.
That's so smart. I love that. Rapid tank farm replenishment.
Good deal. S1N War is asking, will a new launch pad allow full-length booster static fires? Like all 5,000 tons? I doubt it. Maybe longer duration static fires, but not, I don't think full length. I don't know, Trevor. Thoughts?
I don't really think so. I don't know anything about engineering launch pads, but I would conjecture that you don't really want to have to design your pad to be able to handle that, since that's not something it's going to encounter during launch. If they do want to do full duration test firings of booster, which I imagine in the future, when they're starting to fly crew, that's probably something they're going to want to do. It'll make way more sense to do a dedicated static fire stand at like Massey's or whatever, like we've seen for both Falcon 9 in McGregor and also the ship in at the Massey's site. So I doubt the new launch pad will allow for that. However, who knows?
Adrian, any thoughts?
It might allow for it. I would love to see it. Yeah, I could see it, especially later in the program where the more high stakes flights are happening.
If they ever do like a VIP crewed mission and they send up nice food, because it's like a VIP thing, and they send up steaks, that'll be high stakes.
Yeah, Sawyer, absolutely correct.
You tried way too hard on that one.
That's part of what made it fun. Right?
Chat, look at chat. I see
Chat's
booing.
Yeah, chat's pretty mad. Sorry, chat. Whole bunch of suggestions for what we should call the unfilling of the booster. Admiral Marath says the booster is being decanted. Bob Cox says propellant recovery.
I like that.
Max in our back channel says unfilling. I like it.
There's some very, very good suggestions, and also some very, very bad one. I always love the duality of chat.
Yeah, there is quite a duality. de-oxidation for the LOX tanks. But oxidation is a separate thing. That's like the color change that you see on a heated piece of metal, right? So that one I don't think would work.
That's when you like lose electrons, I think, or some. I don't know.
No, that's Rocket Lab.
Wow.
Oof.
If you
Moving
lose
right
electrons.
along.
Yes.
Moving right along.
It's just a joke. They're very reliable. I just made a joke because their rocket is called Electron. I love Rocket Lab.
I'm just giving you a hard time. James is asking, why doesn't anyone talk about how the vertical tank farm was a test bed for building Moon and Mars villages out of old starships? Because it probably
It
wasn't.
It wasn't.
It was a massive failure.
Yeah, it was the moment when they probably noticed, like, I wonder if there was a certain moment where somebody read up on the regulations of tank farms in Texas and were like, oh, you cannot put them right next to a roads.
You can't put them next to each other. They need like a berm and a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That probably
also,
I love
wasn't.
how
like, you shoot, like, protected against, like gunfire. Oh.
that tank farm must have broken like at least a dozen laws for their original plan. And I don't understand how a company with as brilliant of engineers as SpaceX didn't care to look or didn't think to look at the regulations. But hey, they've come over it. They've learned.
Can I be a little bit spicy?
What?
I'm going to be a little bit spicy. Trevor, what if they did? What if the brilliant engineers were like, no, and they were overruled, perhaps by somebody higher up in the company? Which is
I mean,
worse?
I don't know.
Both are bad. I think we can agree. Ooh, we have replays. Let's watch some replays. Oop, yep. All right, we're going with the dune angle first. You can see the detonation suppression system starting up there. No audio on this guy, just heads up.
Watch for the two flashes.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up.
There's
There's
one.
one, two,
there's two.
Two.
and three.
Yeah.
I don't know if I saw three, but I definitely saw two.
The last bank is just 5 engines, so it's harder to see.
Wait, do they do outer, inner,
No,
center? For,
No.
like, what's
it has
the order?
absolutely nothing to do with.
It's
It has nothing to do with the rings. It's totally separate. It's kind of like clumps, including some outer, some. It's basically like section off a little more than a third of the engines from like including the single center engine in that third, and then some of the outer engines, and that's kind of a bank, is my understanding.
Huh. So is it different than the shutdown sequence that we see in flight, where
Yes,
it kind of makes
totally
that star
different.
pattern? It's more like pie
Yeah.
wedges?
That is my understanding.
Interesting.
Alex
Alright.
is saying 13. Okay, Alex is saying 13 center, 15 outers, then 5 outers.
Huh.
I guess maybe they've changed it a bit, or I don't know.
he can talk about it. He will soon be on commentary. Hint, hint, hint.
Good deal. Here's the angle from south. God, that shockwave is beautiful.
Yeah, we do know that the banks have changed several times throughout Booster, or as they've learned how to ignite 33 of these engines at once. The startup sequence of these banks has been changed several times.
Here's a different south angle. Should give us a nice view of the dust cloud. Shockwave. Never get old.
There's the brown one. Look, you can see
Yeah.
how.
Yep.
I mean, it's just. I
That could
think
just be
it's just the exhaust going over the dust, over the planes.
Yes. Yeah, the flats there. It could just be the dust getting kicked up from the flats itself. That would make sense. Looked really good, though. What are we thinking on duration?
8.
Yeah, I think 8.
I was wrong. Trevor and Alex were right. It's 8.
Let's see. I'm going to try and count it this time.
Deluge and
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yep.
Hey,
I think it's very close to being very evenly 8.
nice. Looked like a really good static fire. Do we have
Yeah,
some more angles, perhaps?
Okay,
Ooh,
there's
from
this
River.
one. That's another plume angle.
Yeah, I like the plume angle because you can see the shockwaves too.
Whoosh.
I also really like this shot because it just goes to show they're not only testing Flight 5 hardware, they're building a whole nother pad and doing a whole bunch of other work.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, we will see the lift of this new section probably fairly soon. As early, actually, as today.
Yeah, it wouldn't
Yeah,
surprise
module
me if they
2.
do it during, like they just leave the road closed and do it, or they do it right after the road opens.
Yep.
Here's another replay from the north side. But yeah, to your point, Trevor, I would say they're firing on all cylinders, but really they're more like firing on all Raptors. Haha!
But not all Merlins, sadly.
Alas.
They will return.
So cool to see the cloud illuminated by the Raptor burn and see it like flickering from the acoustics from the engines. It's just absolutely beautiful.
That's another wide range. He says, stating the obvious. This is not a close-up. Oh, really, Adrian? Thanks for the insightful commentary. That's so neat of you.
It was fine. It's fine. Stop being so mean to yourself. But I'm going to be mean to you because you have to leave. Get out. Leave.
Yes.
Thanks
everybody.
Thanks for joining us on commentary, Adrian. We'll put your info up in the top right. Follow Adrian on the socials. Adrian, you're awesome. Thank you. We love you. Bye.
Bye. Enjoy Alex analyzing.
Alex, do we have you?
You do have me, I hope, at the very least.
I have you 5x5. What'd you think of the old static fire we got to see today?
That was nice. You know, we got a static fire. I don't know. It seemed very much nominal, right? I didn't see anything off. The countdown also seemed to be pretty much, bang on the, all the times that we expected. There seemed to be maybe a few changes here and there, but you know how they are, right? They always tweak the propellant load sequence by a few minutes here and there, and that's always expected. So yeah, pretty much yeah. What I would have expected from a nominal test. We'll see if the usual post talking about Flight 5 super heavy as a static fired and whatnot, and all those drone shots that unfortunately we cannot take.
Still, beautiful day for a static fire. I'm loving these replays. Well, Alex, we had some questions earlier. People asking if we thought they would do perhaps another static fire with a booster with like landing engines or something along those lines. Do you expect any other additional firings of Booster 12, barring any issues with this one?
There's always that possibility, but so far we haven't seen it. And while it is true that we shouldn't roll out things, the fact that we have really never seen them try any relight or any sort of things like that. I mean, the last time that we saw multiple static fire tests of the same vehicle, it was like what, January 2021 on SN9, and they have never repeated that again. So, while it is possible, the chances are low, right? So I will probably, say maybe not.
And I think
we'll
that
see.
test in January of 2021, my understanding was that was more about learning how to start Raptor and less about caring about relight.
Yeah. And it's also not the same conditions because the whole thing of, relighting the engines on super heavy, well, when it is after the hot staging maneuver, right? That's a whole different, like, that's a really, really complex thing to replicate on the ground for the landing burn and things like that. I don't think it's something that easy to really replicate and try to match on the ground.
Concur.
Continuing to see the frost line drop. About half a chine's worth of locks left in the booster, I think.
The unfilling, right?
Yeah, the unrefilling. Wait.
What?
Sue Origin, thank you for the super chat. They say, who should I sue next? I don't know, man. Dean Brilhart, thank you for the super chat. They say, will we get to see video of Alex touring spaceflight sites here in the U.S.? I don't know, will we, Alex? Did you and Dee do any kind of BTS sort of thing?
There were some videos, yeah. I think Kevin got video of me last Monday watching the Turksat 6A launch. I don't know if we have actually released that though, like other than showing it on the stream the other day. Yeah, there's some videos and pictures and whatnot. Most of the stuff is just goofy stuff. I didn't really do a serious tour or anything like it, I guess.
What was your favorite part of being in the Space Coast? Was it seeing a rocket launch?
Oh, meeting people. It's always fun.
Who's your favorite to meet?
Are you really serious?
Who is your favorite to meet?
I'm not saying.
You're just telling me. It's fine. No one will know.
Yeah, of course.
We all know. We all know.
I have a hunch. I do have a hunch.
Well, Jack, you said on the Space Coast, right? So there you go.
Okay, that's fair.
Maybe your guess is not the correct one. But anyways,
all right, that's fair. That's fair. Let's see. I guess we'll do some more questions while we wait to see if there's any additional testing that takes place today. Might be some grid fin wiggles. Might be some cool venting from the booster as they depress. I don't know. We're waiting to see what happens next. But let's do some more questions. Jay is asking, was that a drone in the air? Do we think there'll be a SpaceX tweet like before? I would practically guarantee it. I didn't see the drone, but I believe that I feel like every time there's an event like this, they have the drone up. Every time there's a rollout, they have a drone up. At least one. So, fingers crossed, we'll get a cool drone shot from SpaceX on Twitter here shortly. Keith M is asking, speculation time. Will the next Falcon flight happen before or after Starship Flight 5?
Before.
You think before? Alex, what do you think?
I would be quite surprised if this is maybe, people are probably going to accuse me of being optimistic with this, but I would be shocked if there was more than 2 weeks of downtime between Falcon flights.
Bold.
Yeah, I think they're going to be flying Falcon before Starship again. Yeah, there's a good chance.
That's it? That's your entire answer?
Oh, come on. I don't have to do long answers
that's the whole thing.
Time you
that's
ask
the whole.
something.
That's it. That's the entire answer.
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
Yes.
This is a long answer. You give him crap. He gives a short answer. You give him crap. You can't win.
He can win. He can win with appropriate length answers at the appropriate time.
What's the appropriate length then?
It varies.
It varies. See, now I have to do actual thinking. That's not good.
You thinking? The roundabout guy, thank you for the $20 super chat. Huge amount of money. $20 is a lot of money. Thank you. Let's see. More questions. Bob and Michelle Murray are asking, is Alex coming to visit Starbase too? Would love to meet him. Alex, when are you coming to Starbase?
Not for this trip. I'm actually leaving the US tomorrow. But I'll be back. Just like Terminator. I'll be back.
Nice. Trevor does not get the reference.
Exactly, yeah. Oh yeah, I hope to be back for Flight 5 in a month or so. We'll see.
Yeah, I think if there's any flight to prioritize seeing in person, if they do go for a catch on Flight 5, I would highly recommend I would highly recommend being here for Flight 5. Because first catch,
Yeah.
man. I mean, come on. So I hope to see you down here soon. I'm super curious as to your thoughts on the Cape versus Starbase, because now you've seen the Cape. So really curious how Starbase hits you.
We'll see. We'll see. I hope that the booster actually doesn't hit me, though.
Yeah, that would be bad. That would be suboptimal.
Yeah.
The roundabout guy. Oh, I did that one. Roundabout guy also with another $10 super chat saying, "I'll donate just $10 for Alex to give us a long answer." Thank you for that. Alex, you're on the hook now for a long answer. I don't know what it'll be about yet, but.
Oh.
And Morton Van Vick, thank you for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. I see Gaming with Peter was gifted one. 00KT86 was gifted one. Whole bunch of people. Jay Park was gifted one. Thank you, Morton. If you got a gifted membership, thank Morton or whoever gifted it to you. Let's see. Looking for some more questions.
Someone saying in chat, Alex will be giving out spreadsheets, not stickers. They're not wrong.
I mean, that would be on brand, right?
Yeah.
Gareth Cole is asking if they catch Booster 12, do you think they'll fly it again? I suspect not. I mean, with the first Falcon they landed, they did not fly again, right? They sort of tore it apart and figured out
They did
any data they
serious
could gather
testing
from
on
it.
Well,
They did a static fire
serious
test.
yeah, and then they wanted it outside of Hawthorne, which is why it didn't refly.
Yeah.
But the second one that they landed, they did end up reflying. So
I saw
I
that
don't know if
booster.
it's super comparable since, yeah, you did see that booster. I don't know if it's super comparable since Falcon was obviously a bit more mature by the time they landed a booster than Super Heavy is, but I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibilities.
I think we'll
Yeah.
see something very similar where maybe the first one will be, inspected, then put back on the pad, and maybe a cryo or static fire test even. I think if the first one that they catch, because it's not a given that that's going to be 12, right? The catch may fail, but whatever booster they catch first, I think there's a good chance that they're going to be putting it back on the pad and at least test it. And if they get to the point of a static fire in that booster, that's going to be awesome because that's a really huge step.
Yeah, I think I don't have anything to add. That would be a huge step. It'd be really cool to see. And, if they do successfully catch this booster that we're looking at right here on Flight 5, seeing it static fire after landing and, being thoroughly inspected, we could be not far off from that. I mean, maybe just a couple of months.
And right now, it's probably the good time to do that because, they're gearing up to build the first ship version 2 and everything. But it'll take time. Stacking is not just the only thing that they need to do. There's a bunch of stuff that they need to add, the usual plumbing and the raceway, the wiring and all that. They usually take time. The stacking is actually the easiest part because you're just welding some sections together. But then they have to do a lot of, extra work. And then it needs to be cryo-tested, put on the engines, do the static fire test. So whenever they actually fly a version 2 ship, it's probably going to be some time until that. So if they capture either 12 or 13, which are the next 2 flights, right? And those are expected to still be block 1 for both the ship and the booster. Then that means they have some time to if they catch either of those or even both, they have some time to work on them and try to inspect them, learn a lot of stuff from them. I think it's a good idea probably to start catching now to get a advantage of that potential downtime that we may see.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, when we heard the rumblings and Elon saying, like, oh, we're gonna go for a catch on Flight 5, I think my initial reaction was, what? But the more time has gone on, the more I think, yeah, that does sort of make sense at this point in the program to just get that out of the way, figure it out, and get operational as soon as possible. Because, holy cow, Flight
I
4
really think,
changed so much. The fact that they were
yeah,
able to just nail it so thoroughly. Go ahead, Trevor.
no, I really think the change in direction that they've made in the program makes way, way more sense. Since, right, originally it seemed like they were kind of racing to deploy Starlink V2, which is now no longer V2, now V3 in orbit, those full-sized Starlink satellites. And that never really made sense to me because deploying Starlink on an expendable vehicle is just silly, right? It is not cost effective in the slightest. And I get, sure, you would get some, the Starlink team would probably be happy that they can get some of those full size satellites on orbit so that they can start getting data from them. But from a rocket team, it made no sense. So I think the transition to, no, we need to figure out how to catch the booster. We need to figure out how to make the ship survive reentry reliably makes just way, way more sense than trying to rush to an expendable vehicle so that they can deploy those V3 Starlink satellites into orbit. And Jack is muted if he is talking.
I was muted. I'm really good at this, I swear. I'm like so good at it. Ron Smith, thanks for gifting 5 Red Team memberships, and the Roundabout Guy with more support, gifting 5 Red Team memberships as well. Thank you so much, both of you. And Gabriel Castleberry, becoming a Capcom member. Hop into Discord, Gabriel. That is the headline perk for Capcom level and above. Pop into Discord and say hey. Check out Food Chat, where I yell at Dan about the tacos he can't eat because he's not here. Continuing to see the frost fade from the booster. Looks like there's only about a little sliver, maybe a third of the LOX tank left to go, maybe less than that.
It looks more like a fifth if you look at the condensation, because the frost obviously is going almost, halfway up the top of the LOX tank, but the condensation itself is just maybe. Well, yeah, it might be a third of the liquid oxygen tank, a fifth of the booster height. Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
You're good.
But then on the methane tank, you can see it's only just frost. You can see no condensation at all, which means that's just remaining. Like there's frost there because the tank is still cold. But there's probably no longer any methane touching that wall.
Yeah. So continuing to detank the booster here, I'm keeping an eye on those grid fins. I want to see some grid fin wiggling or something. Although they did do that the other day. Was it the Spin Prime Day or was it the Proof Day or whatever the day before Spin Prime Day was? We did see a whole bunch of like ship QD arm retraction tests and grid fin wiggles and stuff like that. So could be seeing some more stuff here, which is why we're still live. Connor with a spicy question asking, will Starliner return before Flight 5? Trevor, you go first.
I'll be honest, I have not been following the Starliner situation as much as I really wish I would have. And I think part of that's just because we have not been getting the answers that I think the public really should be getting for this program. I hope that's not too hot of a take.
No, I think that's fair.
But my understanding is that Starliner, right, they can only be on orbit for 45 days or something like that. And I think they're rapidly approaching that. And IFT5, as we were discussing a little bit earlier, I would say is no earlier than a month out, probably more like 6 weeks out, late August, early September, somewhere in there. So my guess is yes, it will return before that. However, Will that be with crew or will that be without crew? We don't know.
Alex, any thoughts?
I will probably be on Trevor's side here, where it's like I really have no idea when Starliner is supposed to return, because we have had no information about that from NASA. They keep saying, "Oh, we're testing, we're they're doing stuff," and while that is fair, right? That they can take all the time they want.
It is a
At
test
the end,
flight after all.
exactly. At the end of the day, it's a test flight. They need to gather all the data that they need to gather, and also there's humans on board, right? So they really need to get it right, all that jazz. But apart from that, we really have no idea when it'll come back. So right now, you tell me, will Starliner return before Flight 5? I was like, no idea. Like,
I mean, they did get an
it could,
extension to that 45-day limit that Trevor mentioned. I think they have another 45 days now.
Oh, they did?
yeah. What they explain is that apparently they see no degradation on the batteries. So as long as there's no degradation, those 45 days, it's like in pollute kind of thing. It's like they're still there. They can use those 45 days because they assume 45 days. If they saw degradation on the batteries, then they have 45 days. But since they don't see anything, then they said, okay, yeah, the 45 days are still there. We can still use them up if whatever, if we start seeing degradation, then it's like starting to run the clock and counting down those days. But apparently, because I think at first they didn't explain it well, or maybe it was the second time, I really don't know, but the second time that they explained it that way, that it's since Starliner is connected to the ISS power and everything, um they don't see any degradation on the batteries, and therefore those 45 days apparently are still intact. So they could, in theory, stay for however long, as long as those batteries don't degrade. Although I expect that at some point there's going to be other consumables, other pieces of hardware that might still degrade as well. So we'll see.
Right.
But I really have no, whenever someone asks this sort of question, and if it were about other things like the Falcon versus Starship Flight 5, I have more confidence saying, yeah, it's gonna be Falcon because based on previous um, on previous timelines and things like that, it might seem like perhaps we're gonna see Falcon. Also, I should say, this is something that we've been talking in the background as well. But apparently, SpaceX has been filing for hazard notices for launches later this week, which is weird because like all of these hazard notices have been coming out essentially even after the failure that happened on Starlink 9.3. So that means they're hoping to get back on track really, really soon. I have my doubts it's gonna be this week though. Might be a couple more weeks, but I think definitely before Starship Flight 5. But again, I have some data at least with that, right? To be able to get a hold on the answer to that question. I don't for Starliner, so I have no idea, to be fair.
I think the roundabout guy got their long answer. I think you did it, Alex. Good job.
I think people are over exaggerating the importance of this Falcon 9 failure, to be honest.
I mean, I would tend to agree. It's an internal mission. We know that SpaceX treats the Starlink launches a little bit different than a customer and especially a crewed launch. So if you're gonna push the limits, if that's even what happened, that's the launch. That is the launch to do it on, and you don't create change in an industry by playing it safe, right? Obviously, not great that they had the failure. I'm not saying everything's fine, everything's great, but it was on a Starlink mission. Like, boohoo, lost some Starlink satellites. There's 6,000 up there. They're pumping them out like hotcakes. Like, it's fine. And I wouldn't be surprised if Falcon 9 is a famously very highly instrumented rocket. I wouldn't be surprised if SpaceX already knows exactly what the deal is, and it's just a matter of going through the regulatory stuff with the FAA and concluding a formal investigation and all that ends up being the long pole here. I could be wrong. Maybe they have no idea, but I don't know. What do you think?
I wouldn't even be surprised if it was the type, because right, Elon has said on many occasions that they're willing to take substantially more risk on these missions. So maybe I could easily see it like being possible that they knew there was something faulty on this vehicle, decided, let's see if we're able to get away with this, and then found out no, they were not able to get away with it. And in which case, this wouldn't even be that big of a problem, right? Like Jack was saying, this is never something that would happen on a crewed mission or a customer mission because they have way, way more testing and are not going to get away with that. But
Right.
it's Starlink, like Jack was saying. Who cares?
I mean, there's a whole different way of thinking about rockets once you start launching them an insane number of times a year. Obviously, you don't want any failures. You want to avoid failures, but it's not like this is a James Webb or a single one-off DoD classified spy satellite or something that costs $2 billion. Cough, cough, Zuma, cough.
Yeah.
But yeah, like not great, but not the end of the world either. I think what you said, Trevor, that people are sort of overblowing it is a fair assessment. I mean, at the same time, it was a failure. Failure, not good.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, no question.
And even just
there,
the optics of that need to be taken into account. I mean, they did have Polaris Dawn coming up, and Crew 9 coming up as well. So timing wise, probably not the best time to be sending it with a Starlink mission.
Look at Jared Isaacman, the commander of Polaris Dawn. He had a comment about it. And, if anyone would be mad or scared about this, it would be him, who is risking his life on a Falcon 9 launch that's supposed to be at the end of the month, which I'm assuming at this point we can say it's more like August. But he was like, yeah, SpaceX takes more risk on Starlink missions. We will get a thorough debrief of what happened and what corrective actions are going through. I'm not worried about this. The SpaceX team is great. And I think that's about as much confidence as, that's the opinion I really care about, not some random people on X saying that SpaceX never should have done this, but the person who is paying for and risking their life saying, meh.
Yeah, I'm so thankful for Jared Isaacman's what he's doing for St. Jude and raising money for such a good cause with his spaceflight activities. B, for his spaceflight activities, pushing the envelope in commercial space is just inspiring and amazing. And C, for his really insightful comments on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. It's invaluable because, like you said, he's the one risking it. He's the one paying for it. And of course, as part of that, he has more insight into SpaceX's operations than most. So really just valuable takes from him on Twitter. I think that's a really good point, Trevor.
Yeah, and also like Elon was saying, when you're launching more, they're going to launch more times this year than the shuttle ever launched, right? You're going to start finding those issues that occur in 1 in every 1,000, 1 in every 10,000, 1 in every 100,000 launches, right?
Right. And, God forbid something happen on a customer or a crewed mission, but at least when it comes to a crewed mission, I mean, that's why Dragon is so robust. That's why it has the abort system. That's why it has a very capable system of Super Dracos on there that it can do its own orbit raising and whatnot. So I'm not really concerned from this failure. I'm not stoked about it, but I'm not like, oh, the sky is falling. That's my general take.
I'm just disappointed in the launch cadence hit, but that's just me, I bet.
Yeah, I mean, you can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll exceed? Do you think they'll exceed their number of launches in 2023 this year, given this issue? Even with wow, okay.
Their cadence is so much quicker. Like, right, they're already at 70 launches, and last year there was 96. So they have just a little bit under half the year left to launch. Less than.
So Trevor, you don't think this will ruin the tour?
The
It's a meme.
I'm
I don't
lost.
get it. Hey,
Never
Jack,
mind,
you're with me being
continue.
clueless for once.
Hey, it feels weird and I don't like it.
See, I'm permanently online, so I know all the memes.
That's fair. Gabe, thank you for the store purchase and the kind words. Looks like they got a Sean print. Nice. I know Sean will appreciate that. Got the liftoff shot. Gotta love it. Once again, a portion of the sale of each print goes to the photographer who made the image. So that's a cool way to support NSF and us. Also, Kevin N supporting us by becoming a Pad Rat member. Thank you, Kevin N. Immediately makes me think of Kevin Michael Reed, which would be Kevin M. Maybe this is Kevin's alt account. Ooh, looks like we have a video from our very own Carson Phillips, who is down here in Starbase, and they shot the static fire from Isla Blanca Park. Let's see. So if you were in Starbase for a static fire, this is sort of the angle and the view that you would have. Gosh, just so much dust. Neat. I was wondering if there was audio. Carson, tell us on the back channel how that sounded. But yeah, if you want to hear what it sounded like again, we did just put out a rapid turnaround replay video on the channel. And given that there's been no further activity at the pad, I think we will wrap up the live stream for today. So you can go check out the replay video. And also, if you haven't watched Starbase Update yet, check out Starbase Update. And also, I do believe we have a Cape flyover in the works. So stay tuned to the channel for that. If you're not subscribed, don't have notifications on, make sure you do all the YouTube things so you don't miss any videos from NSF. But yeah, go check out. Oh, Carson says it sounded good. A lot of people I was with was shocked how long audio took to get to us. Yeah. I mean, really, in the grand scheme of things, even light is really slow if you think about it.
Yeah, light is slow.
It's annoyingly
I can
slow.
run faster than light.
I don't know, Trevor.
All right. Well, I think we'll wrap things up. Adrian was on earlier. Thank you to him for being on commentary. You can see the roadblock there is still active, but you can keep an eye on it on Starbase Live, and you know we will as well. Alex, you were also on commentary. Thanks, buddy.
It's always a pleasure. And of course, that Cape flyover video, you know, I always appear on it, right?
Right.
So I had to do it from here, from Florida. You'll see that.
Ooh, good tease. Trevor, also thank you for being on comms, buddy.
Of course. No one ever thanks you, so thank you, Jack.
Stop it. I don't like it. Also, thanks to Jay in the background operating the stream. We appreciate you, Jay. And your correct take, RE Ship 26. Carson in the back channel says he saw Ship 26 and can confirm best ship. Carson, what, are you sure you were looking at 26? I don't know, man. Anyways, I'm Jack. You know me. I'm the guy with the voice that you have to hear sometimes. I'm sorry. But yeah, go watch the replay video. Go watch SBU and stay on top of everything that's happening down in Starbase on Starbase Live. So yeah, we'll leave y'all to go do that. You have homework. Also, listen to Vaporwave. Like anything from 100% Electronica. They're great. They're a great label. Like Equip, Esprit, George Clanton. Like, come on. There's so many. Go listen to Vaporwave. All right. Bye, everybody.
And here we go.
We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be nominal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, with planet.
Water towers, fly! Yes! Tango Delta
Oh my god!
Décollage.
Put that in the big bag, you know.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?